How are you guys?
We're doing pretty well.
We're good, but before we get into anything business related, we're going to have to put you through to the question of the day.
Lordy Lord.
Yeah, we're doing this. We're going there.
Oh, Lord.
It's an easy question, and your answer will just permanently stain you or make you my hero for the rest of your life. So,
oh, God. No pressure then.
Think it out carefully. First of all, do you have a problem with eating dinner foods for breakfast or breakfast foods for dinner?
I can eat eggs any time of the day or night.
All right, so that really doesn't answer my question.
Could you eat a burger at 7 o'clock in the morning?
Okay, well, in all fairness, I don't eat burgers, but I can eat breakfast foods any time of the day or evening.
Is the burger thing a vegetarian issue, or is it?
Yes.
All right, so if there were a vegan alternative.
Yes, like I could eat like a soy burger for breakfast.
You would. All right,
Okay.
I'll graciously account that.
You're now a hero in Jeff's eyes.
I don't know about hero, but at least we're in the right direction.
Whatever.
All right.
It's all good. Okay, fine.
Let's get into some business.
I seem to be the only one on the planet who wants to have White Castle for breakfast.
Yeah, that might be a little dicey, but eggs work any time of the day for sure.
Okay, yep, I'll agree with that too.
Yeah.
On to the business at hand, though.
The business at hand. So, happy President's Day to all. And I have two topics I'd like to cover this morning, so I'll try to use my time wisely. First of all, we put up an essay entitled "What It Means to Be the President and All That Comes with It," and we took a look at there are two nonprofit presidents in the county right now who are under a lot of pressure. One is Susan Presidian, who's the president of the Pearl River Chamber of Commerce, and we use the piece to ruminate about the responsibility and the weight that our local nonprofit presidents carry, and how she has inadvertently become ensnared in a legal battle that started with fighting amongst 4 former board members and a former treasurer. And this is a lawsuit that has just kind of gotten out of control, and now she too is involved in this lawsuit and has to get a lawyer and defend herself. And the second one, and I didn't tie her into this essay, but it's also relevant, is Debbie DiBernardo, who's the president of Hightour, which is a nonprofit. And she too, is the subject of a criminal charge, a criminal lawsuit that was brought by the Rockland County DA's office. So what I do in this essay is I ask people to take a moment and think about President's Day beyond the sale at the mall or the weekend skiing or the day off, and to also to get beyond George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, and to think about the leaders that we have here in this county, and what the essay looks at is both their how there's a dueling contradiction that comes with power and vulnerability. These people step up. These people actually don't earn anything in the roles that they inhabit. They do this because other people won't. And for the most part, they stay out of danger. But in these two particular cases in our county at this given time in history, we have 2 presidents of 2 chambers, both women, I might add, who are in trouble, for reasons that are not maybe not necessarily of their own making, or that are because the organizations themselves had weaknesses. So I would urge people to, if they have a moment, to take a look at the essay. It's kind of a think piece on the subject, and to take a moment and pause and think about those who do step up and the vulnerable spot that they can find themselves in inadvertently, not having anticipated that they would ever be looking at a situation like this when they decided to take the reins as the president of Hightour or the president of the Pearl River Chamber of Commerce. So that was the first thing. Any thoughts, questions?
Where do you think, in particular, both of those may end up shaking out? I mean, they're both very sensitive issues. Certainly, Hightower is very high on our callers' lists of things to either get done and do it right and stop with the nonsense. But also the Pearl River Chamber of Commerce. That's not been something we've covered a whole heck of a lot or talked a whole heck of a lot about, but something that is very important still, nevertheless. Where do you think both of those shake out?
Yeah, so okay, let's take this apart. I think that, let's start with the Pearl River Chamber of Commerce. I think that the fighting that is still ongoing is destroying the organization, and it has endangered it and has diverted its focus, and it is a very dangerous sort of canary in the coal mine story for any chamber or any organization. You know, these nonprofits depend on the general cooperation of people who presumably come to an entity because they share a common goal. But as anybody who's ever sat on a nonprofit board can relate to, is, you know, it's Lord of the Flies. It's human beings who vie for a hierarchy sometimes, and sometimes it becomes less about the mission and more about, you know, power or fighting or infighting. And this is a bad thing. And I think with the chamber, unfortunately, you know, by now it would have seemed that this would be more winding down, because Lisa Williams, one of the former board members, was released from the case, as was a second board member. So we're still waiting to see what happens with two of the board members, whether Michelle Warup is likely to win her defamation case, given that the judge has already ruled that she's a public figure and the bar is very high. You know, I'm not a prognosticator, but I think that she has a pretty, it would be a tall order for her to win her defamation case. But there are other cases that have spun out over this, and I think, I actually just think it's rather terrible, and I think that this might drag on for quite a while, because now that this is in the courts, you know, it's not up to these people to work it out anymore. They've put it into the courts drag on, lawyers feast at the trough in the meantime, and it's really problematic. So it would be absolutely tragic to see an organization you know, come undone over this, but I wouldn't say that it would be impossible before this organization is going to find a way to renew itself. On Debbie DiBernardo, I share the wow, like, you know, has she really done something criminal? You know, we know this involves the intake of 17 kittens, and we know, or 19 kittens. And we know that it's essentially the former Hightower manager, okay, who has given oral testimony that she was told to input these kittens as having come from Rockland County. Debbie DiBernardo, you know, has not padded her pockets. There's no money involved here. You know, she has not gotten rich over doing this. That this has ever risen to a criminal complaint is a little baffling to many, and I think at some point, again, not a prognosticator here, but I think that if Debbie holds her ground and you know, maintains her innocence, my guess is that the DA's office is going to have to walk this one back. From everything I know, and I've been privy to some of the documentation, I mean, it's just baffling that this rises to being something of a criminal nature, when, you know, not to mention we have lots of criminality to chase down in the county. And one further comment on Hightower is the bigger story here, believe it or not, even though this is very torturous for somebody like Debbie DiBernardo, whose life has been upended by this legal suit, the bigger problem is Hightower itself. And it's the management of it and where that's going to fall out. I mean, was this really all about, you know, trying to shift the running of High Tour to a different entity? This is the question many are asking. So we have two significant organizations in the county: High Tour, the only organization essentially that we can rely on across the board for our animals, and a chamber, which is involved in a significant hamlet, and both are under pressure. Both are threatened because of these legal actions. So it's a lot to think about. I get it.
Just a couple minutes that we do have left, I did want to draw your attention to an issue that I had seen last week developing, and that was, I wondered what you thought it might mean for the broader outlook for Rockland County. One of our institutions, the Airmont Diner, announced that they were closing.
Yes.
And I've heard rumors about some other locations of things that you might have think were well established here in Rockland are just, maybe going away. I'm not going to say who they are because they're just rumored at this point and not confirmed.
Oh, look, we know that catering halls and traditional Italian family restaurants and diners are all, I don't want to say going the way of the dinosaur, but they I would say the pandemic and changing lifestyles, it's just like the mall, right? We are living differently. And I think that, I don't know the specifics of the Airmont Diner, so I don't know what is the situation for that particular owner. But there is definitely a shift going on. I do know of at least a handful of typical traditional family-style Italian restaurants, the old kind of fashion Italian restaurant. That is fading. Catering halls. There's a catering hall on Route 303 that's been recently sold, and that is not going to be a catering hall anymore. We wrote about it. We're in a time shift. We're in a time where what we've always expected, what we've always thought was a given, isn't a given. It's not a given at the mall. It's not a given on Main Street. And these old, icons like diners too, are under pressure because they're big and they rely on a lot of diners. I think you're going to see a lot of change. I think we are going to see a lot of change, not just here in the county, but nationally in the next 5 years. So we'll keep charting that. And speaking of change, I did want to mention the incredible announcement last week of the Village of Haverstraw naming a developer to redevelop the former Chair Factory site. And if we don't, what we can do is we can talk about that some more next week.
Yeah, sure, that'd be great. That'd be great. Now, if people are not familiar with your publications, I think they should be, what's the best place that they can find you if they want to sign up for email newsletters and things like that?
So it's RC Biz Journal rcbizjournal.com, and they can go online and they can just put their email address in and get a free daily newsletter every day at 7. But they can pop on the site anytime and stay up to date on the news, which we give in-depth coverage to.
Excellent, Tina. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you again next week. Have yourself a great President's Week.
Same to you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.